Today could have been a complete shit show, and I also could have not gone to practice. There's a 100% chance that I could have, but I decided that I was still going to, regardless of my feet feel like hell. I was walking around all day at work, and I'm not even complaining about it. I'm just admitting the fact that from a standard of how the session was going to go, that I didn't feel the best. I didn't feel the greatest, the bottom line. My sleep quality, my sleep was overall low. And I could think of a million reasons not to go out. The sun was going down, it was getting dark, and I was like, you're either going to go after it and do it now or you're not going to do it now. It's a pretty cut and dry, black and white thing. And it wasn't hard for me to convince myself, because at the end of the day, this is where the difference between the average person, or what is when you do it when you feel good, or if you do it when you feel perfect and get enough sleep and everything, that's not going to make you good. It's not going to make you good. Now, a contrapositive to that, if you come out here and overstrain yourself, and this is like a note on how to be tempered in the session. If I come out here and try to like overdo it, considering the factors, that's a problem too. But there's always something to learn. Given a day, there's always something for you to learn. There's always something for you to take away from the day. I chose to take this opportunity, regardless of how I felt, which was a lot less than 100%. And I chose to come out here and take some throws. I didn't take a lot. I took a lot of time between each throw. Wasn't rushing it. The hip flexor issue is still a little bit of an issue, but I think that working through the problem and working the problem is better than doing nothing ultimately, because at the very end of the day, all you get is today. You're not promised tomorrow. You're not promised tomorrow. And this mentality that, I can go do it tomorrow, or I can just go home and go to sleep, and I laid down for a second. I was like, I'm cozy now. I can just go to sleep or whatever, and I'll wake up well rested, and I can do it tomorrow. Like, no, nope. That's gone out the window. That's gone straight out the window. I think that's the wrong mentality to have. I think that you got to give today something. You got to give today something, even if it's a little bit, even if it's not a lot. You got to give what you got today. So, got in here and took some throws, because that's all I can do is try to attempt to get a little bit better. Got in here, took some throws. Think that I improved, even on a day like this. I think that I got a little bit better. The entries looking a lot better. The throws looking a lot more succinct and connectedness with togetherness, and even getting blocked on the finish. I can tell because of the fact that it's dark outside, and it could be sectoring left or sectoring right. There were some that were going to the right side here, and I think that's not necessarily the worst thing. I think that has to do with my release. And what's funny, a funny thought about that, I think that when I do release it down the hammer, when you do release it down the sector, I think that has to do with a little slight pull on the hammer. I think there's a little bit of tugging that goes on that fourth turn, or there's supposed to be actually a little bit of pulling on that fourth turn. But on besides that, I was going to the left sometimes, but it wasn't too far left. It really wasn't too far sectored left. So, compared to like something that I'd be worried about that would be a scratch potentially in a competition, it wasn't that far off. It really wasn't. So that's something that I'm taking an important note. And they started to line themselves up pretty decently here, without me being able to put a full effort and kind of like trying not to favor that impingement that I'm dealing with. I still think that I was able to put together some pretty decent tosses here. And that's all that I was really, really looking for. Not anything far, not too worried about distance. Still not worried about distance, but got a little bit better today. The biggest thing that I have thought about is I have tons and tons of information on how to get better with the Olympic lifts and how to improve those, the snatch and the clean, and even powerlifting, how to improve those lifts, right? There's tons of information out there, and pretty easily accessed. So there's forums and stuff like that you can find. The information on how to toss the hammer further. Well, that's a fucking doozy. That is a fucking doozy. And from what I was reading a comment section earlier today, and it was noted that it was talking about how the Eastern Europeans, there was some level of knowledge that they were only that they were the ones that got bequeathed with the knowledge, and we haven't had that quite privy to it. And I find that very, very interesting, and I'm wondering if I need to do some digging, because at the very, very end of the day, when you bring up Eastern European, well, more times than not, they seem to have more people. Somebody over there has more people over or right at that 80-meter mark. So I find that very, very fascinating, and something that I do want to look into. I don't know how much information I can find. I'm sure that some of the other American throwers have dug into this a little bit, but I think I kind of wanted to dig into it myself, because there's some pretty abstract concepts that I think that you probably need to understand in order to throw the hammer far. And I can sit here and like train hard or whatever, but I'm over the like kind of the brute force, and I'm going to bust my ass and work hard. I'm trying to figure out what that you need to work smart part is. So, alas, got some decent throw. It's at least sort of going in the right direction. I need to re-healthify myself and try to get back to, the where I can be 100% and then see where the tossers are going to go. So, but that's just about all I got. You already know what the deal is. Run on your toes, keep your mouth closed, lock your doors, and save your throws. And most importantly, you'll live to fight another day. I'm going to get out of here, guys.